You didn't have that thought. It was given to you. If you've ever felt like your own worst enemy, it's not because you're broken. It's because you haven't identified the voice you think is you. Before we dismantle this voice, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We break down the deep psychology you need to master your mind every single week. Here's what that voice costs you. Every day you don't name it. It runs quietly in the background, filtering what you say before you say it, deciding what you attempt before you try it, deciding what you're worth before anyone else gets the chance to. You call it being realistic. It's not. It's sabotage wearing the mask of self-awareness. Picture this. You finish something you're proud of, a piece of work, someone you care about, an idea you actually believe in. And before anyone else reacts, a voice gets there first. This isn't good enough. Who do you think you are? Not your voice. Not really. But it speaks in first person, so you never think to question it. You just absorb it like it's fact. Here's the psychological truth most people never learn. That voice isn't you. Carl Jung called this territory the shadow, the disowned, unexamined material of the psyche. And one of the most common residents of the shadow isn't some monstrous impulse. It's an internalized authority, a parent, a teacher, a culture, whose judgments you absorbed so early and so often that they stopped sounding like their voice and started sounding like your thoughts. So here's what's coming. I'm going to show you how to decode that voice, separate it from your actual self, examine where it came from, and strip it of the authority it's been running on for years. This isn't therapy speak. This is a method. Start here, right now. The next time that voice speaks, don't argue with it. Name it. Literally say, internally, that's the critic, not that's true. That single act of separation is the first crack in its disguise. Part 1. The persona and the mask. Let's go deeper. Jung's model of the psyche includes something called the persona, the mask you present to the world. The confident version, the competent version, the version that has it together. Most people spend their whole lives polishing the persona while never looking at what it's compensating for. Because a persona doesn't form in a vacuum. It forms specifically to hide what you've decided is unacceptable about yourself. And where does unacceptable get decided? Early, by people with authority over you, long before you had the capacity to evaluate whether their judgments were fair, accurate, or even about you at all. This is introjection, psychology's term for swallowing someone else's belief whole without digesting it. A parent's impatience becomes your certainty that you're too much. A teacher's offhand correction becomes your conviction that you're not smart enough. You didn't examine these. You inherited them. And the tragedy is, introject material doesn't stay in the past. It sets up permanent residence in your inner voice. And from that position, it doesn't sound like an old memory. It sounds like your own judgment. Present tense. Happening now. This is why willpower alone can't beat the inner critic. You can't out-argue a voice you still believe is you. You have to expose its origin first. Part 2. The decoding technique. Here's the decoding technique. 3 steps. Use them in order. Step 1. Isolate the voice. When the criticism hits, don't respond to its content yet. Just notice its tone. Is it cold? Contemptuous? Impatient? Tone is a fingerprint. Voices are actually yours. Your own discernment, your own standards tend to sound level, even when they're firm. Introject voices almost always carry an emotional charge that doesn't match the size of the moment. If a typo triggers the same tone as a moral failure, that's not proportionate judgment. That's an old recording playing on a loop. Step 2. Trace it. Ask, plainly, whose voice does this remind me of? Not metaphorically, literally. Most people, when they actually sit with this question instead of rushing past it, land on someone specific within seconds. A parent who equated achievement with worth. A teacher who humiliated instead of corrected. A culture that treated rest as laziness. You are not manufacturing blame here. You're doing forensics that you're identifying evidence, not assigning guilt. Step 3. Re-Authorize. This is the step people skip, and it's the one that actually works. Once you've named the voice and traced its origin, ask one final question. Does this standard still serve who I'm trying to become, or is it just inherited furniture I never chose? If it still serves you, keep it, but now it's yours, examined and chosen, not absorbed by default. If it doesn't, you're allowed to set it down. Not fight it, not suppress it. Just stop treating it as law. Part 3. The protocol in action. Let's run this through a second scene, because this only means something if you can see it in your own life. Someone gives you feedback at work, mild, constructive, barely a critique at all. And within seconds you're spiraling. I always mess this up. They probably think I'm incompetent. I should have seen this coming. Notice the tone. It's not proportionate to a mild comment. It's harsh, absolute, moralized. Trace it. For a lot of people, that tone belongs to a parent who treated small mistakes as character flaws, or a teacher who used shame as a teaching tool. Re-Authorize, the standard, I should always be flawless, isn't wisdom. It's inherited fear wearing the costume of high standards. You can hold real standards without the shame. Those are two different things, and the critic has been merging them for years, so you'd never separate them. This is also where Jungian thinkers like Marie-Louise von Franz and James Hillman add something crucial. The shadow isn't purely negative. It holds disowned strength, too, not just disowned pain. Which means when you finally decode the critic, you're not just neutralizing a threat. You're often recovering capacity you buried alongside it. Ambition you called arrogance. Boundaries you called selfishness. Confidence you called too much. Conclusion, psychological sovereignty. This is the deeper current running under all of it. Individuation, Jung's term for becoming who you actually are, rather than who you were conditioned to be. You cannot individuate while an unexamined internal authority is still writing your self-assessment. Every time you obey the critic without questioning it, you're not being humble. You're outsourcing your identity to a voice you never chose and never verified. So the next time that voice speaks, and it will probably today, don't fight it, and don't obey it either. Isolate it, trace it, reauthorize it. That's not self-help. That's psychological sovereignty, taking direct ownership of the one voice that's been running your life uncontested.